Hi everybody, in this segment we're going to be covering the stances of the basics in JuTiaKen-Bo karate. JuTiaKen-Bo karate, if you don't know what that is, it's basically an acronym of different martial arts we've combined to create a mixed martial art. So we have Taekwondo, we have a little bit of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo karate, and a little bit of Muay Thai kickboxing. So in that facet, our stances are pretty much universal in Shotokan karate and Taekwondo systems. There might be a little different terminology, but you'll grasp the concept. Okay? What we have first is our basic front stance. Front stance is facing the front. That's what it's called front stance. Right? My front knee is bent. I should have it bent enough where I cannot see my toes. If I can see my toes, it's because I'm too high. Right? So I should have it bent. Back foot should be slightly off angle, but pretty much facing the direction I'm going. Back knee barely bent, just barely, not locked, just barely bent. Right? This is your basic front stance. Shoulders are nice and square to the target. Right? So when I'm moving, I'm just trying to stay level. I'm trying to stay here as I move, level. To achieve that, I have to keep this knee bent, the front one, when I move. Whether I'm going forward or backwards. If I'm going backwards now, obviously the back knee would be bent as I slide back to my position. Okay. So forward and back. Trying to keep the same nice level height. You want to avoid this up and down motion. This is not what we're looking for. We want it nice and level here, whether we're going forward or backwards. So this is our basic front stance. In Taekwondo, they call this a walking stance. Okay? So that's one stance out of the works. Now, your very basic stance of all is a horse stance. I believe some systems call it a sitting stance. Basically, what we're doing is we are bending our knees, sliding out, shoulder and a half wide. Your feet are going to be facing straight. You want to get down as low as possible. Right? Drop your hips down, kind of like you're sitting in a chair or riding a horse. So name it horse stance. Knees are out wide, shoulder and a half wide. Right? Back as straight as possible. Do not get to have them leaning forward. Keep your back straight. This is the okay horse stance. You want your weight on the outside edges of your feet. It's called our sword edge. And we don't want to be like this, where our feet are pointed out. We want your feet as straight as possible. So from the side, it looks a bit like this. Here. Try to stay as low as we can. Back straight as possible. Good horse stance. Right. So we have a front stance, horse stance. The next stance you're going to learn is called a back stance. In Taekwondo, they call it an L stance. The feet are shaped like an L. So if we can have that concept in mind, your front foot straight, your back foot pointing off to the side, your weight's on your back leg. That's why it's called a back stance. This stance was designed so that we could use our front foot easier to kick with, pick it up easier, and not having much weight on it. All right? So your leg is bent in the back. Again, shoulder and a half in length from your big toe to your back heel. Okay? Back straight, shoulder should be bladed. It should not be squared up like you were in the front stance. All right? So we're facing sideways this way. So our target will be right in front of us over here, not over here. As we move, again, we're moving, staying low in your good back stance. Feet, try to make them as good as an L as possible. Try not to have the back foot pointing behind you. Have it pointing directly to the side or slightly forward. That's fine. Front foot, always facing straight. And again, shoulders sideways. Okay. Basic L stance, as we call a back stance. All right. So if I do this sideways, it looks like this. Okay, so I'm facing this direction this time. Okay, and this is how I want our feet to be. Most of your weight's going to be in this leg, about 7% roughly. Okay. Good. Hands up. Okay. So we've covered front stance, horse stance, back stance. Our next basic stance, and this is a stance we do a lot of our striking combinations on bags and moving across the floor, is from Kempo karate. It's called a neutral bow stance. We just call it bow stance for short. Right? It's very similar to a horse stance, except the feet are lined up slightly different. I'm going to use this ladder as a key. So if you can imagine putting your back heel on this red line and taking your front toe, putting it on that same line. And then both feet are not going to be sideways like a horse. They're going to be pointed 45 degrees off your straight head-on position. So basically to the corner, kind of like a V, if facing this way or that way, if I have my other foot forward. And your weight can fluctuate depending on what you're doing. If I'm throwing a punch, I can be leaning forward. If I'm throwing a block, I can be leaning up, that type of thing. Okay. And your feet are always angled, kind of off center, 45, not completely to the side, not completely to the front, right in the middle. Okay. Neutral bow stance. Okay. Now, neutral bow, again, shoulder and a half in length, from the big toe to your back heel. This line we have this nice red line part is ladder. That is where our technique should be aimed at. And have really strong power. I could still throw a punch over here and make contact, but I wouldn't have nowhere near the strength that I would if I was in line with my body. Okay. So this is our neutral bow stance. So we move neutral bow, slide, staying low, maintain that good front toe, back heel alignment. Right? Here. Right. So neutral bow. Right. From a side position, it looks a lot like a horse, except my feet are angled differently. Right. My back foot is just slightly in front of my front one. Okay. So you want your big toe straight line of the heel. Okay. Again, back foot's always facing this way, just like the front one is, never turn backwards. Okay. Hands up, back straight. Shoulders are bladed too, not square like the front stances. Okay. Good. Okay, so those are our basic stances. Let's quick review on them. Okay. So we have our front stance, shoulder and a half in length, and you should be able to fit your shoulders between your feet. Okay. So you don't want to be standing like this, where it's way too narrow, because then I get very unsteady sideways. I need to be wider. Okay. So this is my front stance, horse stance. Okay. And then we have our back stance. We have our neutral bow stance, a very subtle difference. Okay. Biggest difference I'd say is the weight shift. More of a 50-50 compared to almost all the weight on this back leg when you're doing a back stance. Okay. So bow stance, back stance. Okay. From the side position, we have our back stance here, bow stance here. Okay. Back stance, bow stance. Now we go to front stance. This is your front stance. Okay. And horse stance, again, is here. Just like you're riding a horse. Okay. So those are our basic stances for a beginner level. And these stances are used all the way up to many, many high-ranking degrees of black belts. And there's other stances you'll learn too at intermediate and so on. But anyhow, work on these basic stances, get them down. Remember, try to stay nice and level when you're moving forward and back on them. Try not to go up and down. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time.